Hey there, YouTube. It's Petey Two Finger and the elephant in the room. We're going to talk about that. I've been working on this. Some parts came in. The Shrilkinson bridge. My younger brother, Bjorn, gifted me this. He grabbed it somewhere. I'm not sure where he grabbed it from. And it was in pretty bad shape when I got it. I ordered parts from China, and they sent me a 2-in-2 set of tuners, like where if you have two right and two left and they go on the opposite sides of the neck, or the headstock I should say, or you can have them where they're all in a row like on a Stratocaster. The Les Paul is right and left sides. The Stratocaster is all inline. The BC Fish is inline. It's all in a row, and they sent me 2-in-2. So I'm still waiting on the other rest of the stuff that we're missing, a nut, and I made this panel here. We got a cool strap coming. Actually, there's a couple of straps coming, and these stickers. They're I think they're Baass. I think this is a Baass too. I don't know. Maybe this is a carp. But anytime I have to be hypercritical about animals, because I have a family member who loves to constantly correct me for being wrong about an animal. I think my dad almost killed him one time when he said that a Buick is a real bird. And I think it was just because my dad hates American cars so much, or that my brother was wrong about that, or just that he finally snapped and had enough of my brother just running his mouth incessantly and wanted to put an end to it, you know. A little excitement at the dinner table there. But yeah, I got to be careful. I'm not sure about this one. That's not a Baass. That's not a Baass. This guy I'm not sure about either, but these two are Baass. And that's the last time I'll ever dance around that subject, but this is the BC Fish Bassmaster guitar. It's not a Monarch or a Warlock or any of that evil stuff. It was weird the day that I decided I was going to actually take this project on and rebuild this and try to play it, because I've got plans to use this to write music with it for the duo where we're both playing basses. Maybe I'll put distortion on mine and she'll play straight bass, and we're gonna try to come up with maybe a set of that stuff. We'll see, you know. But as it is of right now, I'm waiting on parts from China, and we're going to be doing our best to reassemble this thing and get it, the BC Fish, the Bassmaster, get it back into the topsy-turvey world of rock. So I've got the nut, the other tuners, the pickup, the controls coming, and a couple of different straps. I'm not going to go over it and clean up all of the, like, put wood filler on all these nicks and then try to paint match it and color it in. I'm just going to leave it how it is. I'm just going to leave it banged up as it is. I do have a jack plate coming and a jack. And I got a police line do not cross strap, because it's just like looking at this bass, like something black faux leather with spikes on it would be probably be the first choice in all reality. But I had a friend who This guy Gary, and he's no longer with us. My friend Gary, he had a mockingbird, I think it was, a bitch, a BC Rich bitch, and he had some kind of a snake, and he put the snake on the snake skin when it shed on the pick guard, so it was a purple BC Rich bitch, which is like sparkle purple. Like it had like metal, like chrome metal flake in the paint. And then this real snakeskin pick guard. It was like, I don't know how they did that, him and his dad, if they used some special type of epoxy, but it was awesome. It was awesome. He kept begging to trade me. I had a like a really nice looking Epiphone 12-string guitar, acoustic guitar. And it had a crack in the headstock because it was related to a Gibson. It had, the headstock had been cracked and it had been kind of repaired. So his dad took it and injected glue into it and then clamped it and ran these brass furniture screws into it. Like, did a really good job of fixing it up. And he, like, I'm not one of these guys that does the borrowing, like trading thing. Like, I don't do that. And I was convinced I was never going to see the 12-string again. And I really didn't like this. I mean, I had an electric guitar. And then once I got it home and I really started playing it, I was like, man, I'm an idiot. This is a way better guitar than what I have. It had a real Floyd Rose tremolo system on it with like what they talk about, those BC Rich guitars from the 80s, the original ones that were made. Were they made in New Jersey? I don't know where they were made. They talk about those original BC Rich guitars and basses like they were really good quality instruments. Holy cow, were they? They were, that BC Rich was, it might have been the best guitar I ever played. It was such an excellent instrument. Like, just the fretboard, immaculately perfect on it. Really, really nice guitar. And it was just that it was purple. It was almost pink, you know? And mind you, this guy was into stuff like that, you know? Gary wasn't really white. I mean, he wasn't really black either. He would have been a good Thin Lizzy guy, Gary. He was big stature. He started out on drums and then he switched over to guitar. And he kind of had this like talentless shredder approach to guitar. When guys play like real fast and they do like pull-ups on the whammy bar a lot. Where it goes like, it does like that. Like, he does a lot of that, my buddy Gary. But yeah, I fell in love with that BC Rich bitch. I rued the day that I got my stupid 12-string that ended up cracking, and I just threw it in the trash when it broke. But my younger brother Bjorn had given me this, and I see good things in the future for this. It's not a great instrument, but it's not a bad instrument either. This is actually good. This is actually I'm guessing it's from the early 90s. Maybe you guys, you could help me out if you're BC Rich. It says Platinum Series TM, licensed by BC Rich. So this, I gotta tell you though, like the neck, like this This is a nice bass. So once I get the tuners and the strings and the electronics in it, you'll be hearing more of the BC Fish Bassmaster. I've got a black. I don't know if I could have got a higher mass. You know, they have these like futuristic looking ones that are Chinese that I just don't know about that. I don't think I want to put anything else besides this style of, whether this is a regular, is it a PV bass or, you know, they have the high mass ones where the back panel is thicker, and I just don't. I'm just not sure about the material that those are made out of. I think that they make them out of real, like pot metal. I don't know. I think this is a Wilkinson, and I like the brass saddles on it, although I initially really wanted to get a black one on here, and I ordered the wrong thing somehow or another. I didn't click black, and it defaulted to chrome. So what they had on here was a chrome piece, and like somebody had switched out the saddles and put some, like, I don't know if these are 8mm in diameter. Let's measure these saddles. No, they're 9. They're like 8.9. They're 18.7 wide. The ones that were in here were chrome, and they were too wide. They were like running into each other. So I got the Wilkinson. We're going to put in a ceramic pickup. We've got a 500K volume and a 250K potentiometer. I'm going to use a orange drop, like a Sprague orange drop capacitor. I'm not sure what I'll pick for the tone capacitor. I've got a black leather strap, and then I got that yellow police line don't cross. And I think there might be a shim in the neck in this, looking at the angle. There is some cracking in the neck pocket. And it's got this nice BC Rich. It's got some character. Like it could be a lot worse than it is. I've seen BC Riches that make my skin crawl. Most of the BC Riches I've ever seen or picked up are just the worst guitar, like they're a piece of trash. And they only look cool from like 25 or 35 feet away. Once you start getting up, the cheapness of all the hardware is what I notice, you know. There's like nothing good about the BC Rich guitar. So having a little slightly older one, I'm completely well aware it's not one of the good old BC Riches, but it's not one of the new bad ones, and that's fine for me. I've got a shredder bass here. I got a Charvel that's really nice. Oh, is it nice? And I've got another bass you guys hardly ever see, my Ibanez. I've got a giant silver Ibanez bass it's got an active setup in it, and that's just a earth shaker bass. It's a really nice. We've got a good amount of basses here. Once I get done with this, we got those two, that one, that one, these two, and that one. Yeah, we don't have 10, but coming up on it, somewhere around there. Nice, you know, decent. And I'm not a real fan of the active thing, but for recording, that's when I like to have an active bass. I've got that Ibanez is the one that I really like to use, and then we've got an active setup in the. My wife has an active bass that has flat wounds on it, or tape wound strings. Now, this bass, I'm planning on putting round wounds on it, and I'd like to have some lighter strings maybe, and then if I commit to this and I continue to play it, I will more than likely invest in a little bit more expensive set of something for it, whether those be tapes, or there's this type of string called a power wound or ground wound bass string that we put on the blue headless bass, and I really like those. That's probably what I would get, although man, some Labella black tapes would. Those are the ones. Don't get the white tapes. They're different. The black tapes are really the ones you want to get. So this thing, it was just filthy. It was nasty, and like I sponged it all off and waxed it and everything, and then the headstock, like I went over and I cleaned all the frets with steel wool, and then I poured what is that? Mineral oil is what I use on my fretboards. I put a little mineral oil on there, and there was some like funk on there, like nasty, like coming up in between the frets, connecting the frets, like ugh. So I went in there with some warm soapy water and a sponge. I went over it a couple of times with that, and then I was cleaning it with it was all wet. I was cleaning it with just a dry paper towel to like really clean it up and get all the, it was like soapy sponge, water sponge, water sponge, water sponge, and then paper towel. And when I went on the paper towel, I gave it some elbow grease, and the paper towel came back looking like somebody cleaned up St. Alfonso's pancake breakfast. It was like the color of maple syrup. And this is after 3 wet sponges. And going over it twice with the soapy sponge. And I had already cleaned it or mixed everything around and pressed it into the wood with that mineral oil. So yeah, once I got it clean, I reapplied the mineral oil, and that's why it looks like it does now. I could not find the one thing that's really bugging me is this headstock. Not the headstock, the truss rod cover. I like having triple ply with the white sticks out, and like if we could get a more medieval shaped, like something with barbs on it or something. I don't know. This, I couldn't find a replacement. That anything, most of them were smaller. They were all small, or there was one that was way too wide and way too long, and I couldn't even cut it down because it was too wide. So we're going to be going with the stock. There's like chunks taken out of the headstock, like somebody was picking at where it says BC Rich. They tried to peel it off. Like what an asshole. What were you doing? So yeah, I filled that in with a little I'll tell you what I would like to get out of here is where it says licensed by BC Rich. Yeah, it looks like the coat of metal flake paint is in the top coat. So if you go sand that down, it'll look bad. And I shouldn't try to be dishonest about the pedigree of the base. If it's licensed, it's licensed. That's what it is. And so yeah, the tuners came today, and I was excited until I discovered that they gave me the wrong ones. So I had to make a video, and they did give me the fish stickers. So I made the best of it, and I installed these. All of these fish are covering significant damage on the base, except for this guy. So I think that it works well enough with the 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't think I'll be adding a real lot. I don't think I'll add too many more. So that's going to be what I'll be working towards, and then getting it set up nice, and then making patches for it. I've got this. I've got this, and I got this, which this is pretty bad. You can get some good clean patches out of it, and it'll work well as a wah-wah. It has a good dirty base. There's, you know what? There's some synth stuff on here that's funky. I shouldn't write this off. There's some cool, really wacky stuff in this one. So I gotta see what I'm gonna do. And the idea of doing some more wacky stuff with it, you know, we're gonna be having someone else playing legitimate straight bass. So if I could get one of those bass synth wah pedals that does that gwee gwee gwee, does that thing. Who knows what we're gonna do with this, but it ought to be fun. I'm gonna let you guys cut you guys loose, let you go. Thank you for joining me talking about the BC fish, and I'll keep you updated on it as more stuff comes in. I mean, I had to order the tuners today, and it's like about 2 weeks, you know, for the stuff to get here. So it's going to be a while. I've got another project I'm going to be working on that's kind of a big deal, which is this thing that I talked about for a while and I never did. The incredibly ridiculous, often misunderstood, silly spring thing is the full name of this project. And it's a mechanical noise box utilizing magnets, motors, and springs, and amplifiers, and transducers, and echo units. Lots of echo units. So that's going to be really something you're going to want to check out. Thank you again for joining me. We'll have more of this as the stuff comes in. But it's slow boat from China, so don't hold your breath. Take care of yourselves. Hug your pets. Try to stay cool. And peace.